Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. Before I start this video, I just want to do a quick shout out. Now, I know something happened within the community over the weekend, and I know that since then it has been resolved, so I'm not going to talk about it here because it's not my place, I'm not involved in it, and as I say, it has already been resolved. But because of this, it's just made me appreciate a certain YouTuber even more. So I just wanted to do a quick shout out. The YouTuber in question is Magpie Movies, also known as Geordie Paul Robinson. Um, if you haven't already subscribed to his channel, I'm sure you have. If you watch my videos, I'm sure you're already subscribed. He's, like, honestly probably the greatest, most inspiring YouTuber on here for me personally. Go and check him out. But as I said, I'm sure you're probably already subscribed to him if you watch my videos anyway. But he is really the reason why I decided to start a YouTube channel. I'd been watching his YouTube channel literally since he had started it. I think he was on less than 100 subscribers when I started watching it over a year. Got about a year and a half ago. I believe it was like last April. And he just made videos and he was really enthusiastic about his videos, and he is probably one of the most genuine people you will find within this community. And I just appreciate him a lot and just wanted to show my appreciation at the start of this video. As I said, he's the reason why I decided to start a YouTube channel, and when I did decide to, he was very supportive. We messaged back and forth on Messenger when I started. He gave me some advice on how to make my videos better, some of which I have followed up on. So I just wanted to, at the start of this video, just thank him and just tell him that I honestly don't think that I could have done this without his support. Now, I don't know if he'll watch this video, but I just wanted to share it anyway so everybody else that does watch this video knows. At the start of this video, I'm sure I've already said how much he has helped my channel before, but I just wanted to just talk since these horrible things happened over the weekend that, as I say, have since been resolved, and just show that he is appreciated and he is just a great and genuine guy. So yeah, if you haven't checked him out already, go and check him out. Magpie Movies on YouTube. He does great videos, unboxings, reviews, all sorts of different stuff. So yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about now. I'm now going to go on to the video. And today's video is similar to the last video, which was yesterday. Well, when I'm recording this video, there's no reason why this video won't go up today, but just in case it doesn't, I'll say this is recorded the day after I did my last top 10 video. But this top 10 video is for one of my favourite actresses. In fact, I believe she's my second favourite actress. She's been in so many great films, and that is Julia Roberts. So I'm going to get into it. As usual, I don't own all of them. I own more than I did with the Ben Affleck films. I own about 7 or 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I own more than I do with the last one. But yeah, I'm just going to get straight onto it. So my honourable mention is a film that was released in 2015, and the film in question is called Secret in Their Eyes. And it is basically a detective thriller, and Julia Roberts plays a cop, and basically a case hits close to home, very close to home for her. I'm not going to mention what happens, because if you want to go in blind, it's best that you don't know anything really. And she basically is too close to this case and is told she cannot investigate it. So it's up to, I believe, from what I remember, Nicole Kidman plays the DA, or she starts off being the ADA, because it goes forward in time. So it starts when the case first starts, and then I think it goes like something like 10, 15 years later, something like that. And Nicole Kidman's now the DA. Julia Roberts' character is no longer a detective, and one of the main characters is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. And when this starts, he's just kind of started his job in the office. I believe he's a lawyer, and he's very close friends with both Julia Roberts' character and Nicole Kidman's character, and basically they've got to find out what happened in this case, and new evidence comes to light all these years later, and it's just a really riveting film. The reason why it had to be on this list, not only because I think Julia Roberts is fantastic, but when you get two of my favourite actresses, being Julia Roberts and Nicole Kidman, in the same film, sharing the same scenes, it just makes for a great film, great story, and it's a really underrated thriller in my opinion that I definitely recommend that you go and check out. So that's Secret in Their Eyes, which is my honourable mention. Coming in at number 10 is a film that was released 10 years ago and stars Julia Roberts alongside Tom Hanks. I have seen this film twice now. Really enjoy it. Again, I think it's underrated. Not a lot of people talk about it. And that is Larry Crown. In this film, Tom Hanks obviously plays a middle-aged man, who basically is at a point in his life kind of having a midlife crisis. He doesn't really know what he wants to do. I believe he worked in a supermarket, and he got laid off basically. So he decides to go to college, and Julia Roberts plays his teacher. I can't remember what subject it is. I think it's ethics, if I remember rightly, because that's the only class left. I believe it's ethics. It's been a while since I watched it, but it's a really good film. It's about them falling in love, basically, and it's a good comedy. Also directed by Tom Hanks, if I remember rightly as well. And just a really good film. Really recommend it. Really good, feel good film. As I said, really underrated. Not a lot of people talk about it. And it's a film that should be watched. It's Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts. They don't collab very often. Obviously, Charlie Wilson's War, but I don't like that as much. Thought that was quite boring personally, which is why it's not on the list. But Larry Crown is overall pleaser of a film, so definitely recommend that. That is number 10. Number 9, now quite a lot of these from now on I have, is a film that was released in 2001 and is a romantic comedy. Again, like most of these, very underrated film, not a lot of people talk about. And this is America's Sweethearts. This basically follows John Cusack and Catherine Zeta-Jones' character, who are America's sweethearts. They always play on-screen love interests and are actually love interests. They are together in real life, obviously not in real life, but in the film. And then they break up, but they break up just after they finish making this new film. So for the publicity to make the film successful, they've got to stay together. This film has also been directed by this very mysterious, weird director. This kind of never comes into the public eye, and he's played by Christopher Walken, who is a fantastic actor. And basically, Billy Crystal plays the press agent that's trying to keep them together in the public eye. And he does that by enlisting the help of Julia Roberts' character, who plays Catherine Zeta-Jones' sister in the film. And it's a love film. Obviously, two people fall in love. And yeah, romantic comedy and just a lot of fun. Yeah, great cast, and I just highly recommend this. If you haven't seen this, if you like romantic comedies, if you like Julia Roberts, it's a really good film. It's quite common to find, I believe. I keep finding this. I found this in my local charity shop a while ago, but it was scratched. And then when I went on holiday, I managed to find this copy, which was in good condition. And since then, I've seen it everywhere. So, but yeah, definitely recommend it. Really good film. So yeah, that is America's Sweethearts, which is number 9. Coming in at number 8, another one that I own, this time on Blu-ray, and is a film directed by Richard Donner. and starring Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts, and that is Conspiracy Theory. Um, this is really, again, an underrated film. I didn't know too much about this before I watched this. This is actually a film, the last film I watched in what could possibly be considered the worst year um, for most of our lives, 2020. I watched this on New Year's Eve last year and really liked it, so got it on Blu-ray. And basically, it follows this New York cab driver, played by Mel Gibson, who is a conspiracy theorist. He writes this conspiracy theory mumbo jumbo, and he's trying to prove all these conspiracy theories are real. And he always goes to Julia Roberts' character, who is an attorney in the Justice Department. And she obviously doesn't believe him, but she plays along and she always says, "Oh no, what this time?" But then one day, one of these conspiracy theories turns out to be true, and there are these sinister forces trying to basically track down Mel Gibson's character and silence him to stop him from doing this. And he gets Julia Roberts' character involved, and they've basically got to go on the run, try and find out, get to the bottom of it. Patrick Stewart's in this as the villain, really good in this, and as I say, it's just a really underrated film. If you like these sorts of films, definitely check it out. Because I didn't think I'd like it. I didn't really think much of it before I watched it, but now I've seen it, really like it. So yeah, that is Conspiracy Theory, which is number 8 on the list. Now this one's going to be very controversial, and you'll see why in a minute. But a lot of people would probably put this right at the top of their list. I've seen this a few times now. Personally, with all these films, I think they're like 4 or 5 star films. And why you'll think this is controversial is because of the film after it. But number 7 is Pretty Woman. Yes, I know a lot of people probably would have this in their top 3. Still think it's a fantastic film, but there are some films that I just like just a bit more. Obviously, Richard Gere, Julia Roberts. This is what made Julia Roberts a household name, and she basically plays, let's just say, I don't want to use the word, she's on the streets, and she's new at the job, and she's trying to pick men up, that's all I'll say. And she comes across Richard Gere's character, who's just basically trying to find directions to a hotel, and from then on, they make a deal with each other, but fall in love whilst it's happening, and it's just a classic. If you've not seen this, highly recommend it. It is probably one of the films that Julia Roberts is most known for. As I said, it is the film that made her a household name, I believe. So yeah, if you like these types of films, romantic comedies, this is one of the best. So definitely recommend checking that out. And then coming in number 6, as I said, bear with me. Very unprofessional. Excuse me, I had something in my throat. Coming in at number 6 is, I'll just get onto it, Runaway Bride. I know a lot of people would choose Pretty Woman over this. I did actually watch Pretty Woman before this, so it's not like this is because I watched it before it. I just like the story a bit more. I don't know, I just like the film just a little bit more than Pretty Woman. But yeah, fantastic film. Basically centers around this journalist, I believe he is, or a columnist, who goes to this small village in the country to try and write a profile on this woman who has run away from, I don't know how many people. She always runs away from men at the altar. She never seems to get married. That's why she's known as the Runaway Bride. And like most of Julia Roberts' films, she falls in love with Richard Gere. Yeah, it's just a really good film, really funny. Just one of those films that you don't get very often nowadays. And if you like romantic comedies, if you like Pretty Woman, and if you've not seen this, recommend it. Same director, obviously both Julia Roberts and Richard Gere again. So yeah, definitely recommend checking it out. That is Runaway Bride at number 6. And number 5 is another one I don't own physically. The next two I don't, and then the rest I do. And at number 5 is Eat, Pray, Love, which was released in 2010, and is based on a true story, and centers on the main character, a woman called Elizabeth Gilbert, I believe her name is, and she basically wrote this book, and she decided to basically leave her boring, mundane life. She was in a relationship she didn't really want to be in, and she decides to go traveling. So she goes to, I think she starts off going to Italy, and then I believe she goes to Bali afterwards, or India, and then Bali, I believe. I don't know, that might even be the same place. And rediscovers herself, even though she's through her middle-aged years. And it's just a really good feel-good film. Um, it's not old, but it's not new. It's about 11 years old, I think. But it's not one that I hear loads of people talking about. I only discovered it this year, I think, on Netflix, and really liked it. In fact, right now, there isn't very many of her films I've not seen, so that's why this list was easy to make, because I've seen most of her films and I enjoy most of them. So, yeah, but if you like romantic comedies and you feel like checking it out, I definitely recommend it, because it is definitely a good film. So that is Eat, Pray, Love at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is one that I desperately need to get on Blu-ray. Again, this is one that she is probably most known for. It earned her Best Actress at the Oscars, and that is the biopic called Erin Brockovich. In this film, she plays a woman who basically works for this big law firm. She starts off being just an assistant for a lawyer, and she gets involved with basically this big oil company, fighting against this oil company who has basically been poisoning water and poisoning people, giving them illnesses which are in the long term killing them, giving them other illnesses like cancer. And they're just trying to prove that they're doing this, how they're doing this. And yeah, it's just a fantastic film. I have since seen, or before this, seen quite a few. There are quite a few other films centered around this same story, but with different characters. You've got a civil action with John Travolta, where he again plays a lawyer that goes to this small town and tries to help these people that are again being poisoned by the same company, who are dumping the same oil in the local water. And I also watched Dark Waters, which is again the same company, DuPont, I believe is the name, who, again, this lawyer is trying to prove that they're killing people, and the oil is being poisoned. So there's been a few films. They've all been really good, really interesting. The best, obviously, being Erin Brockovich, though, the most well-known film as well. Julia Roberts is absolutely fantastic in this. She definitely deserved her Oscar. You've also got Albert Finney in this, who plays her boss, the lawyer that's obviously investigating this. I don't know if he was nominated for an Oscar. I'm pretty sure he was. Don't think he won it though. Might have done though. But it's just a fantastic film. If you want to see what Julia Roberts is capable of, definitely check it out, because it is one I no doubt think that you'll enjoy, especially if you're a fan of Julia Roberts. So yeah, that is Erin Brockovich at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is DVD. This is just a really feel-good film. Quite sad though, funny as well, and that is Stepmom, also starring Susan Sarandon and Ed Harris. This centers on a woman who basically, Susan Sarandon's character, she's divorced. She used to be married to Ed Harris's character, his ex-wife, basically. And Julia Roberts plays Ed Harris's character's new wife, who is the stepmom to his children, his and Susan Sarandon's children. And these two don't get on, but basically, she is forced to step up when something happens to Susan Sarandon's character. She finds something out, which means that she becomes ill, basically, I'll say, and Julia Roberts' character has to step up to look after her children, and it's basically about motherhood, um, and she has to put her differences aside and start looking after her as well. And it's just a really good film. Really recommend this. Fantastic film. Sad, funny, just a really good film. So yeah, that is Stepmom at number 3. At number 2 is my favourite of her romantic comedies. As I say, most people would probably say Pretty Woman. You may be able to guess what this is, because a lot of people do love this film. It is a British film, and I just love this film. I've seen this so many times now, more than Pretty Woman, and that is Notting Hill, also starring Hugh Grant. Obviously, this centres around Hugh Grant's character, who is a owner of a bookshop, and one day Julia Roberts' character, who plays this massive Hollywood actress, stumbles into his bookshop and they meet, and as most films, they fall in love. So yeah, it's about fate and falling in love, and yeah, just how far you'll go for love. And it's just a really good film. Just some iconic scenes in this. The end scene where they're trying to chase her down before she leaves. Um, yeah, the bookshop scene where she comes back into the bookshop at the end. Just a fantastic film. Recommend it. If you're looking for a good romantic comedy, this is definitely one I'd recommend. One of my favourites. And yeah, just an overall really good film. And finally, at number 1, you're probably wondering what my number 1 is, because a lot of those would probably be most people's number 1s. But this is a newer of her films, and one I did go and see at the cinema. And she's not so much the main character of this film. She is definitely a great supporting character in this. She is technically still a main character, but she's just fantastic in this film. This is a really moving film. I just love this film. I've seen it several times now, and that is Wonder. Also starring Owen Wilson and Jacob Tremblay as the main character. And it's basically about a young boy who's basically deformed, and it's about him going into the world, starting school, meeting friends, meeting enemies, people that make fun of him, and just learning to live in the world, whilst facing this deformity that people make fun of him for. And Julia Roberts plays his mum, who's extremely supportive. Owen Wilson plays his dad, who's also extremely supportive. And it's just a really heartwarming and uplifting film that I think anyone can enjoy. And we are getting a spin-off film next year called Whitebird, which is based on a novel following Julian, who I believe was the bully who was bullying him in this film. His character is about his grandmother, and it goes back to World War II and tells her story, sort of. It's gonna have Helen Mirren in it, Gillian Anderson, so I'm looking forward to that. That's one of my most anticipated for next year. We're also getting another Julia Roberts film next year, not long after that, Ticket to Paradise, with George Clooney as well. So she's reuniting with George Clooney, although that hasn't started filming yet, so whether that actually happens or not is doubtful, because Julia Roberts hasn't done a lot in the last few years. She is currently, or has just finished filming Gaslit, which is a new series co-starring Sean Penn, about the Watergate scandal, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then after that, she obviously is due to do the Ticket to Paradise, but we'll see if that happens or not. I hope it does, because that is another one of my most anticipated of next year, because it is dated, so that means it should, fingers crossed, happen, but you never know with Hollywood, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that is it. That is my top 10 for Julia Roberts films. Sorry it went on a bit long, but I wanted to get my opinions across so you know why I liked each specific film. Have you seen any of those films? Are there any that you haven't seen? As I say, I recommend all of them if you've not seen them. If you have seen them, what are your thoughts on any of those films? Let me know down below in the comment section. And that is it. So don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. If for some reason you didn't like the video, then by all means give it a dislike. But if you do choose to dislike the video, I'd appreciate if you let me know why down in the comment section below, so I can improve on it in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded onto the channel. Comment down below anything, everything. As I said, have you seen any of those Julia Roberts films? What do you think of them if you have seen them? Are there any that you are now interested in after seeing my thoughts on them? Anything, I will reply to anyone that takes the time to leave me a comment, because I do appreciate it. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.